welcome back to the Cycle 365. I'm Cody Stauffer.
I'm Jesse Booten.
And this is episode 18, and we are without Simon because he's a little sick.
Yes, young Simon Villanos is sick tonight.
And it's very considerate of Mr. Villanos to not get us sick, I guess, even though I saw him last night.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got very minimal show today in light of recent events.
Yeah.
Where we're going to be talking some Kobe Bryant, and then we'll wrap it up at the end of the show with a Super Bowl preview.
Yeah, so. And we could talk a little bit, if you'd like, about the Pro Bowl. Didn't really matter, so we're not going to talk about that. But we can talk about the college all-star games, if you want.
I didn't get to watch any of them.
No, I didn't watch a ton of them, but we can talk about
it. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. So, starting off, in case you live under a rock and you only get your sports news through the Cycle 365, Kobe Bryant.
It'd be kind of awesome. It'd be awesome if you did that.
Yeah, it'd be awesome if you did that. So thank you if you have. I'm not trying to make fun of you, but Kobe Bryant passed away in a helicopter crash amongst 8 others.
Including his daughter. Some teammates from his daughter's basketball team, and their parents, as well as coaches, and the pilot. Yeah.
And they just identified Kobe and the baseball coach, John. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his last name, but quite the tragic event to wake up to on Sunday. Jesse messaged me in the morning, just in disbelief, that Kobe died.
I said, I can't believe Kobe died. And Cody goes, no, it's a joke. It's not real.
Yeah, because it was first reported by TMZ. And, TMZ, they report, ooh, Daniel Radcliffe cheated on his lover. And just stupid stuff.
But then when it came out on ESPN, you knew it. You knew it was real.
Because ESPN and Woj don't lie.
Yeah.
So, it was a sad day. I feel like, for me, the saddest part, not only losing, a pop culture icon, but definitely, the kids part was, really sad.
Yeah.
Because there are 3 13-year-olds on there.
Yeah, and they were on their way to their basketball game. It's Kobe's team, basically.
I think they're literally called the Mambas.
Yeah, they're called the Mambas. So, that's what his daughter plays on, and her his daughter's friends were going with them, teammates. They were on their way to their basketball game. It wasn't that long of a flight. They said it was supposed to be an hour or less.
I think it was
flight.
30 minutes maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then they crashed into a hillside.
Yeah. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah. The helicopter caught fire, and there were no survivors.
I mean, when a helicopter crashes, the chances of survival are probably already pretty low.
Yeah.
So, but they still have the investigation open.
Yeah, they're still investigating what happened, why the helicopter went down.
Because we have no idea.
Yeah. Pre-investigation thoughts were that there was just a malfunction in the airplane, or the helicopter, I should say. Because because it says that the pilot was in contact with the nearby air traffic control people, and there was no other planes in the area, so they didn't hit anything or anything like that. The only thing they were advising him to do was to climb higher in altitude out of the fog, because there was supposed to be supposedly a dense fog that morning in California, and they asked him to gain altitude over the hills that they're flying over, so they could pick him up on radar. And what they said, eyewitnesses account says they saw the helicopter start to climb, and then all of a sudden it started falling to the ground. So that's why it wasn't. I don't think it was operator error. I think it was just a malfunction in the helicopter.
I mean, that sounds like a tough conditions to fly in. So.
Yeah, but that's nothing new for pilots. Pilots fly that all the time. Dense fog. So, and I'm sure that pilot has done the route multiple times.
Yeah, probably.
So that's why I do agree with the experts, and I do think it was a malfunction in the helicopter, which happens.
I mean, sounds legitimate.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see what happens from it.
Yeah.
And
I do know if you're listening and you want to know an answer, from what I know about plane crash and stuff, that these investigations could take long time. Like it could be multiple years. So we're not gonna have an answer for you anytime soon. We possibly could, but the likelihood could be anywhere from a year to 4 years.
Has your dad investigated helicopter crashes?
I'm not gonna disclose on the air what my dad does, but yes, he's investigated them and stuff like that. But he does less. He doesn't do as much. It was more of the like airplane federation that come in and do it because they have people that train for that. He does not do that, but he's been on the site of them.
Fair enough.
But I know, yeah, there's some crashes, especially ones that have to do with malfunctions of the aircraft, could take 4 years to figure out. Like it would be easy if they knew like the pilot had like had a seizure or passed out or done something like that, but there's no evidence to that. So if it is a malfunction with the aircraft, it could take years to figure out what actually happened because they have to like take all the wreckage, right? It's crazy because it's all just splintered pieces everywhere, and they recreate it and they look and see what is different, but there still could be missing pieces. So that's why it takes so long. I know in past aircraft accidents and stuff, the reason it takes 4 years is because all the pieces aren't recovered from the crash, but then in 4 years down the road another crash similar happens and they know what happened on that one, so then they can go back and look into that with this one. So that's why it takes forever.
Well, the more you know.
Yeah.
I had no idea about these investigations.
Yeah, so the investigation could take a while, but anyway, we can turn back to sports now. That's more of like aircraft.
Hey, you never know what you're going to get when you tune into the Cycle 365, and today you got
a lesson in aircraft.
You got disclosure. I mean, because for some people, I know that, you and I, we didn't grow up watching a ton of basketball, so there's definitely some listeners that may be affected a bit more than us, because Kobe was a lot of people's hero, even in the NBA.
So I think that's a good thing. It could go there. Like if he is your hero, like he wasn't killed on purpose, like it's just a freak accident that happened and that's what happens to aircraft. Aircraft malfunction sometimes, and most of the time they can recover. The pilots can recover if it's like they have fail safes for that. But in this situation, unfortunately, the pilot couldn't recover in time.
Yeah, and it was definitely a shame because Kobe's retirement was looking really promising. Not only with his involvement with his daughters and those basketball teams, but he also was doing a lot of during his career he did a lot of philanthropic work, but he was especially dedicated and focused on that as just trying to be the best person he could be and the best father he could be.
Yeah, no, he was a great person. That's why it's a tragedy.
Yeah, for those who don't know, off the basketball court, I was looking into this today, and he did a lot of work with actually like veteran families, like for families that lost people overseas or had people shipped overseas. He did a lot of volunteer work with them and like helped them out financially if they were needed. And that's a stand-up guy, and he did a lot of things for children's sports, especially like girls sports and stuff like that, with his daughter having gone through the process about opening up opportunities for that. So he did a lot of work off the court, and he was just kind of getting started too. Yeah.
So also, it's pretty interesting that it comes the day after LeBron James passed him in career scoring.
Yeah, that was his last tweet, was a congratulations to LeBron. Yeah, because it's just a class act, Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's definitely insane. Jesse, I'd ask, what's your most vivid memory of like Kobe, and when was like the first time you heard about Kobe Bryant? Because those could be two different things, or they could be the same thing.
Yeah, no, definitely two different things. The first time I ever like heard the word Kobe, like it's like when you're in school and your friends go Kobe, and they like shoot the thing into the trash can. Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard about it. But at that point, I was like, what the heck does that mean? And then I like started to understand, like, oh, that's Kobe Bryant. Like he splashes home threes every day.
He's a baller.
Yeah. So that's the first time I heard about him, but I didn't really like start to like really know who he was until I got into playing 2K. Because on my 2K games, then I started to get to know him. Because I didn't watch a ton of pro basketball when I was growing up. I'm definitely more of a football guy. which is why on the podcast I don't talk much basketball because I just don't know that much about it. But I know.
But you know who Kobe Bryant is.
Of course, I know who Kobe Bryant is. You know, the Lakers have always been dominant in the West. They beat the Nuggets multiple times in.
Used to not like Kobe Bryant because of how many points
he would score against the
Nuggets. And
but yes, I know, obviously I know who Kobe Bryant was. But yeah, so I would say 2K is when I really figured out who he was.
Fair enough. What was, I guess, like, do you remember ever watching a game with Kobe in it, like, specifically?
Well, the only one I really, really vividly remember was his last game where he scored 60. Like, we watched that one. That's because I was older and more interested in around sports, like a bunch of different sports, not just football.
Did you watch it with friends, or what was the scene?
I think it was just the only thing on, so we watched it.
I mean, you could have watched the Golden State game that night.
I don't like Golden State, so...
Fair enough.
I would rather watch Kobe Bryant and the Lakers than Golden State. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I actually watched that game, and I knew what it was. It was on a school night, and I was like, I have to watch the Kobe game tonight. So I went downstairs, kicked my brother off the TV. I said, I'm watching Kobe right now, and watched his last game. And then my dad came down about like halfway through the game. He's like, what are you watching? Well, it's Kobe's last game. He's like, oh. So he sat down and we watched the game together as he put up 60 points and got the dub.
I did see this graphic on social media earlier this week. It's only Wednesday, wow. But anyway,
yeah.
Earlier this week that had a little highlighted point of every single point where, like, on the court where Kobe scored every single point, and it showed his last one where he scored his 60th point in the last game. And I think it was like an 18-foot jumper from the right wing. So,
that was for the lead.
Yeah, and for the 60th point.
So, but yeah. Did you... I actually rewatched the game on ESPN that night because the Thunder game was so bad.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, the Thunder got stomped by the Mavs, so I watched the Kobe game instead.
Yeah.
And he really meant a lot to that entire city. Like,
yeah, well,
all the celebrities showed up. Other players that didn't have games showed up.
Yeah.
So.
When, if you think about it, first of all, 20-year career is crazy for, well, not that crazy for basketball because it's not as taxing on the body as some other sports, but
still crazy for an athlete.
20 years is a long time, yeah. And I would say he's part of the reason that the Lakers are who they are. And, like, they're supposed to be the, like the team that everyone looks up to. It's because Kobe made that team.
Yeah, definitely the face of the Lakers. I feel like I remember watching the NBA Finals in 2009 and 2010 where he went back-to-back against the Celtics because my grandpa is a Boston fan. He grew up in the Northeast. And, he was cursing up a storm and just being like, Kobe! Like, he was so mad. Yeah. And I just remember like, oh, Kobe Bryant, how's he making him this mad? And I was like, oh, because he doesn't miss anything, ever.
Yeah. If you're still a little confused, like, the magnitude of this thing is, or the magnitude of this player, of Kobe Bryant, is people have put him in the top three of all time, like with Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Kobe Bryant. Like, they're probably
those
the
are the
best,
three that are debated the most.
Yeah, like, who's the best player in the NBA history.
Well, you know what's shocking to me is, like, Kobe passed away before Michael Jordan did.
I know, Michael Jordan is still alive.
Like, Michael Jordan is still alive, and Kobe started his career near the end of Jordan's career.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah, I did see that. I don't know if it was true or not, but I saw something that they're going to honor Kobe by putting him in the Hall of Fame this year. So, we'll see if that happens, but... Yeah,
I wonder who's going to do his Hall of Fame speech. Probably maybe his wife.
You'd think his wife.
Yeah, I hope she's doing okay, by the way.
Rough.
Thoughts to her for losing a husband and a child.
Yeah. It's tough because they have what? She has 3 other kids?
I think so.
Yeah, so that's tough going from having a husband and another kid and 4 kids now just by yourself with 3 other kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
I don't really like... I too have been scrolling on social media, and it's the number one topic right now, obviously, because it's insane, and a lot of people I feel like don't really understand how big of a deal this is.
Yeah.
Like this is equivalent to like Michael Jackson or Tupac. Like just because of the suddenness of which event of such a
I mean, I know it's not the best like analogy, but in the sports world, this is like 9/11.
Yeah.
Like this is like that's what happens in the sports world. Like it's instant like that.
And shocking.
Yes. And it was on every TV and like everyone knew about it, worldwide.
I mean, look how you have the mural in the Philippines. He has all of his experiences in Italy, and he was a multiple gold medal athlete.
Yeah.
So everyone around the world knows who Kobe Bryant is.
Yeah.
And for him to he gone
suddenly die like that, yeah.
Like it's a real shock, and we're still figuring out how to deal with it. But I don't even remember what I was on about social media.
You said you're upset about something. We were talking about how...
Oh, yeah. On social media, there's like a lot of reporters that are like trying to get interviews with Vanessa Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
That's his wife. Yeah. And it's like, leave her alone.
Yeah.
Like, why are you at her house? Like people are in her house.
Literally half of her family just died. Like,
give her some space.
For at least a month.
Yeah. I mean, so that's... I mean, I know we have the freedom of press, and I appreciate that, but come on. You gotta have some integrity at some point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, condolences to the Bryant family and to the basketball world. Have you seen all of the players switching their numbers?
Yes, I have seen all the players switching their numbers, and also we saw all of the teams that played on Sunday all take 24-second violations and 8-second violations, and all in favor of him. I think that's a good act.
Yeah, I feel like you don't really have an event like this that really unites like an entire league of players.
This one did.
That's international, and it really did. Yeah. And Mark Cuban, he said he retired the number 24, even though he probably should have waited a day, in my opinion.
Yeah, and retired. So Kobe didn't even play on the Mavericks.
No.
So, but they retired anyways.
Yeah.
So it's a little interesting.
Some teams are thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just like a case-by-case basis, because you had Joel Embiid played with the number 24, and he had a great game in honor of Kobe. And he actually scored 24 points, which is wild. And the 24th point
there was some pretty crazy statistics out there for that day. Like, I know Trae Young wore 8, and then Devin Booker didn't wear anything, but those two together were big fans of Kobe, and they put up 81 points or like something like that, and it was crazy if you want to look up the stats about that.
Yeah, and Trae Young was the first player with a 45-point double-double with under 24 shots since Kobe Bryant. It was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, and also another crazy thing of why I think if you see Trae Young, he was taking it very hard, because there was a report that said Kobe's daughter, Trae Young was Kobe's daughter's favorite player. So like I'm sure they've been in contact and like have hung out together and stuff like that. So he was taking it really hard. So it's pretty cool that he got to do what Kobe did, basically.
Yeah. What do you think about the NBA still playing games on that Sunday? Because I know some people have problems with it, and I don't know where I stand yet.
Yes, I did see that they were thinking about doing that, and the reason they said they would do that is because the players just didn't want to play.
Because Kobe knew almost everyone in the league.
Yeah, I think I'm on the side of it. I would have liked to see them play, because I think that shows more of a tribute to him than not playing, because you can, present more stuff in honor of him. And like broadcast that, like if you just stop playing, like sure it makes a statement, we're not going to play because we lost an icon of basketball, but at the same time, like also I think it shows like Kobe, like it said, Kobe would want them to play, but you can still honor him through playing. I think playing would show more honor to him than not.
See, I think that's an interesting point, and I kind of thought about that. And you could see that in, I don't know if you watched Carmelo Anthony's interview, but he said it was like the hardest game that he ever had to play, but he played because Kobe would want him to.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, at least by having the games up, you can at least put it on a case-by-case basis. Because you have some players like Chris Paul didn't play,
Mm-hmm.
and, a lot of players have taken the games off to, cope on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
They could do that. But I think that they should have canceled it more as a moment of silence, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, not only for, the mental health of players, because even if you just pushed most of the games back one day, it'd be fine, honestly, because rearranging the NBA schedule, you'd have some more back-to-backs this week, but they could make most of them up, I think. So, I think that they probably should have canceled the games, and then the next day, give Sunday to Kobe Bryant, give Monday back to the NBA.
The only thing I have to think about with that is obviously Kobe knew everybody in the league, and everyone knew him, but he was only really good friends with maybe a handful of them. So you have people even for the Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr. Obviously he knows who Kobe Bryant is, and they know each other, but I don't know if they're best friends, and he probably still wants to play in his honor. As coming from a coach, what better motivation for your team than to go and play for him today?
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Ja Morant, he's a starter, and Zion Williams, they all know who Kobe Bryant is, and I'm sure they support him and stuff like that, but they're not friends with him like LeBron James is, Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you said is it's great. You can let those veterans sit out and cope, but the young guys should still play.
What do you think about them moving the LA game, the Clippers-Lakers game? Because it was supposed to be played on Tuesday, so a couple days after, but they postponed it. You think that's a little different?
That one's a little different because it's the
in
city.
LA.
It's the city, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The city that it all happened and where he's from and stuff like that. I think that one is different, but at the same time, I think it gives a great platform to honor him. What better place to honor Kobe Bryant than at the Lakers-Clippers game in the Staples Center, in front of everybody, in front of the world. That's literally the platform you could have to remember him. So
I bet the stands will still be filled.
Yeah.
And I bet they'll still do something.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the murals and art that I've seen has been really good as of late. And they had flowers outside of Staples Center and stuff.
Yeah.
But they still hosted the Grammys.
Mm-hmm.
And they were actually trying to get Kobe fans to back off and go away from the Staples Center, but I feel like the Grammys, I don't know if they really hold up to the same level that Kobe Bryant did.
No, but let's be honest. Let's be honest. If Kobe Bryant was still alive, he probably would have been at the Grammys. So,
yeah, because that's the type of guy Kobe Bryant is.
Yeah,
that's the weight that he has to him.
Mm-hmm. But I think going back to your comment about Mark Cuban retiring 24 without Kobe Bryant there, and like you said, Joel Embiid rose 24 and all that stuff. I think, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough because you said other teams are probably going to start thinking about it too, and I think it's a good idea. But also, you got to think about the only other person I've seen in professional sports that has a number retired like that is Jackie Robinson. Right, 42 is retired throughout all of baseball.
Yeah, no baseball players can wear 42.
Yeah, and I get that one because he basically changed not just the landscape of sports, but of all of America. He was the first Black African American player to play in baseball. So that's life changing, and I get it. I know Kobe has changed some lives, obviously, but has he changed political, social scale on the level that Jackie Robinson did? He's a great guy. He's done a lot of work, but has he contributed to the country like Jackie Robinson did? That's just what I think about. I think they should have let other teams. Obviously, the Lakers were going to retire it anyways.
They already retired 8 and 24.
Yeah, so obviously that, but a team like Dallas, that's great that they retired in honor of him, but people in Dallas can't wear 24 to honor him if they want to.
There's a couple of players that have changed their numbers. Most notably, I believe Spencer Dinwiddie changed from number 8 to something else. I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah.
And you have that on like a case-by-case basis. Jahlil Okafor is changing from 8, but like, who cares about that guy? And then there's this one player for the Pacers who said he's going to keep wearing 24 because Kobe Bryant was his hero growing up, and that's why he wears 24 in the first place.
Yeah.
So why would he change?
Yeah.
So I agree with you on like, you know, you could leave it on like an organization to organization basis, you know? Like, if all organizations want to retire it, then so be it. But I don't think it should be a sweeping change made by the NBA and, like, Adam Silver.
Yeah.
So if, like, your organization wants to retire 24, that's fine. You know? But I don't think it should be, like, a mass ruling from up top, if that makes sense.
Exactly. That's what I would agree with you in that. So.
And I guess on, like, that scale, too, I feel like... This is just like a personal comment, but I feel like 24 is more important than 8.
I absolutely.
Because like 8 was the iconic, you know, the one who put up 81 points, and the one who played with Shaq got a 3-peat.
Yeah.
But 24 is when, because a lot of people who I disagree with in the first place are like, ooh, Shaq carried Kobe to 3 rings, which is a bad take anyway. But that's when Kobe really came into his own, and he secured his 5th ring.
Yeah, well,
and put himself in
I would say,
the GOAT conversation.
I would say in the next generation, like the generation coming up now, like when you think of Kobe Bryant, you think of 24.
Yeah.
You don't think
I think of 24.
I think of 24 as well. And obviously we're younger, but we're in that generation of like, we're in the mid-generation now. We're not like in our 50s yet, but we're also not the next, like we're the main working force generation.
I mean, we were born just before the 2000s started. Yeah. Basically when Kobe's career started.
Yeah.
In the 90s. And so there was a couple years where we could know Kobe as 8, you know, 81 points, big news. But for the majority of his career that I watched, he was wearing 24.
Yeah.
So I'd say that like the people who are maybe in like late 80s, early 90s people, maybe they associate 8 with Kobe Bryant.
I would argue
his
that
legacy
even,
is probably 24.
Yeah, I would argue even people that are 30, so were born in the late 80s, would still think of 24 as Kobe. I think you have to get back into like people that are 40 now, so the early 80s that would think about Kobe as an 8.
Well, we should put that up on our social media, our polls.
Okay.
When you think of Kobe Bryant,
do you think of the number 24 or the number 28?
Just 8.
Oh, I said 28, didn't I?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
8
Nobody thinks
24.
of 28 with Kobe Bryant.
No, that was my football number. So if you think about 28, think about me.
And then texting us from wherever he is, Simon wanted us to make sure.
This is our last. You have any wrap-up thoughts about Kobe?
I mean, I remember the first time I heard about Kobe was actually through one of my dad's friends, because he was explaining a rock band commercial to me. He's all, and you know, it's Tony Hawk and da-da-da and Kobe Bryant. I was like, who's Kobe Bryant? I was probably like 5. He's like, you know who Kobe Bryant is. I was like, are you sure? And then he showed me like highlights. I was like, oh, yeah, that guy. So I knew who Kobe was for like the rest of my life. And you know, fun thing, by the way, I've played Zach. One of our friends, Zach Klein, he uses 3 Shane Battiers in 2K, and it's disgusting. He's beat me when I've used 3 Michael Jordans and 3 LeBron Jameses, because Shane Battier is a hack for those 2K players out there. But you know what dream team of 3 of the same athlete I beat him with? Kobe Bryant. Yeah. I did it on Sunday. Yeah, Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
And then, Jesse, if you want to wrap us up and tell us what Simon had to think.
Yeah. My last thought is just like, it's a tragedy and it's sad it happened. But I think it's going to bring us together as a sports community. So, rip to Kobe Bryant and prayers to his family. And then our young friend Simon, he wanted us to tell you guys that his favorite Kobe moment was his 60-point game, his last game.
Wow, how original.
Yep.
It's like you and I already talked about it.
Yeah.
Maybe if he was here, he'd be able to chime in. But he decided to be sick instead.
So that was his favorite moment, as well as ours. So that was a big moment, and that'll close the book on Kobe Bryant.
If anyone listening has any stories or personal thoughts on what they want to share regarding Kobe Bryant, go ahead and just send them in, comments on our Twitter, send us messages on Instagram, and we might read them out.
Possibly,
if we get any.
Yeah.
We're still growing, but
yes, we are. But anyways, when we come back, we're going to be talking Super Bowl predictions and preview.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to the Cycle 365, episode 18. We're going to give our Super Bowl preview now.
Yep.
We are.
That's really what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm very sad.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough year.
Both of these teams are not ideal. So if the 49ers win, they're going to be like, oh, we have 6 rings, and they're never going to shut up about it. And if the Chiefs win, well, that's just horrible for a completely opposite reason.
I think I'm rooting for the 49ers to win. Just putting it out there. I just don't want Kansas City to win.
I don't want Kansas City to win. But at the same time, I love my dad. So there will be like... The viewers can't see it, but Jesse, how small how close are my fingers to
It's like a pin, top of a pin.
Yeah, that's how much joy, if you want to call it that, I'd get from it, just for my dad. Because he's had to wait a lot longer than I had to for my team to win a Super Bowl. Because he's 40.
I just don't want the Chiefs to win. Anyways, let's go through it real fast. So, they've had 2 weeks off. Because the Pro Bowl happened last weekend. We don't need to talk about that. It was a joke.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. And that could be another poll. Did you guys watch the Pro Bowl? And should we? We're probably still not going to, even if you make a really good case. Because I've tried watching the Pro Bowl before. And it stinks.
I mean, like, there was this one, they were, like, talking about, just go off on a tangent real fast about the Pro Bowl. I did see a few highlights that, like, Fletcher Cox returned a lateral interception from Harrison Smith to the end zone. But if you watch it, Cortland Sutton is running right by him and could have tackled him if he wanted to, but he wanted to let Fletcher Cox score a touchdown.
Yeah. You know, it's cool. I feel like Pro Bowls are important for, like, a career resume.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, Champ Bailey's, like, a 14-time Pro Bowler or something stupid like that. Like, I feel like that's good. Mm-hmm. But the Pro Bowl as a game, I'd rather watch any other All-Star thing. I'd rather watch the NHL 3-on-3 All-Star thing with the Skills Challenge. I'd rather watch MLB All-Star Weekend is probably my favorite because they have the Home Run Derby.
Yeah, the only thing that
And the All-Star Game for MLB has implications to it.
Not anymore. I was about to tell you. This year was the first year they didn't do implications on it. And I think it's dumb. I think they should go back to implications. It used to be the winner got home field advantage at the World Series, which is crazy. That's
I know. Wait, when did they changed that just now?
That was this was the first year they didn't have implications on it.
I mean, thank goodness the Nationals won the World Series, I guess, but
yeah,
that's so stupid. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's frustrating because like I feel like
now it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I feel like it's fun. Like it's fun to have something to play for. Like obviously in the Pro Bowl, players are playing for bonus checks.
Yeah, too bad all of them are making more than like I will in my entire life just by being there. So
yeah, so I mean that's what they're playing for. But like again, like if you watch the game, Cortland Sutton is a monster. First of all, like he's almost as big as Fletcher Cox, but way more athletic. If you look at him running side by side, like it's terrifying. How
Cortland probably could have just pushed him over.
Yeah,
honestly.
But like, and the announcers are like, "Oh, look at that stiff arm from Fletcher Cox," and then I was a little upset because they were saying like, "Oh, Cortland Sutton doesn't want anything to do with him." Like this big man, I'm like, bro, if you're in a real game, Cortland Sutton would light him up.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of just how the Pro Bowl went. But anyways, back to what I was saying. 2 weeks off for both the Super Bowl teams. Who do you think has the upper hand? Let's talk about this.
As far as having a 2-week break, we saw both of these teams play after the bye. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I feel like the Chiefs showed more rust than the Niners out of the gate following their bye weeks, of course. Because even though it ended up not mattering, the Chiefs were down 24-0. In their game, and that was because of rust. They were dropping passes.
Yeah.
And they were blowing assignments on defense.
And I will say this. Yes, for the Chiefs fans, yes, the Chiefs came back from a 24-point deficit after coming off the bye playing Houston, but I don't think that can happen against the 49ers.
If you're the 49ers and you are up 24 points, I mean, we've seen them do it against Green Bay twice, where they jump out to a huge lead and Green Bay can't catch up. Granted, the Chiefs are better than Green Bay. That's why they're in the Super Bowl and the Packers aren't. But 24 points is a lot against that 49ers defense.
And I just think the way, like, I know people, like, everyone said that Derrick Henry was supposed to run all over the Chiefs and not give them a lot of time. But Derrick Henry's just one guy. Like, the 49ers have a handful of dudes on the offense.
They got dudes on the left.
Yeah.
Dudes on the right.
I would say the 49ers will control the pace of the game. 100%.
I think they have to.
Yeah, well, no, I think they will, no matter what. Because Kansas City's not a control the offense or control the game type of team. They're just like, let's score as many points as we can. Which is great. I think that's a really good way to play.
I feel like this Super Bowl will be way more exciting than last year.
Absolutely.
Last year's Super Bowl was a stinker.
I think it's going to be one of the most exciting Super Bowls in the last, 4 years, maybe. Because the Patriots aren't there.
Yeah, it's exciting because there's new teams.
Yeah, new quarterbacks. We're going to see Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl and Jimmy Garoppolo.
New decade, new NFL, baby.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't keep seeing him, personally.
Well,
but just the variety part.
If anything, we might see Patrick Mahomes a few more times in his career. But I don't know about Jimmy G. We'll see.
Well, would you agree with me, though, that coming out of the bye that it favors the 49ers probably more than the Chiefs?
Absolutely, yes, for sure. I think the only thing that's hurting the 49ers in that is like both teams are going to get healthy, obviously, with the bye week, except for Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, you can't fix a broken arm in 2 weeks.
No, so Tevin Coleman isn't coming back, which is a bummer for the 49ers, but they still have some good running backs.
I mean, you have Raheem
Mostert.
Mostert, that's how you say
his
name.
And then Matt Breida. And those are both starting NFL starters.
Yeah, Raheem went off against the Packers.
And if anything, Raheem has Mostert has proven that if he doesn't re-sign with the 49ers, he can go to another NFL team and be a star, a number one.
Absolutely.
A number one. So they basically have, and Matt Breida's been a starter in the NFL, and I think he still has the talent to be a starter.
Yeah.
So I think they have 2 starting running backs still, which is way more than a bunch of other teams have. They had 3 starters on their roster, which is crazy.
Wasn't Jerick McKinnon on there once upon a time?
He was.
What the heck happened to that guy? Anyways. So it sounds like if we're looking at this at a position by position basis, which I feel like is appropriate for a breakdown, the Niners have the advantage at running back.
Yes, but I'll give Kansas City the advantage at quarterback.
Yes, I agree. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he missed some time this year, but he still threw 24 touchdowns in a shortened season.
He's better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
I feel like that's completely fair. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't voted to the Pro Bowl or anything. Mm-hmm. He wasn't All-Pro.
No. But, comeback player of the year.
Yeah, I see it. I believe it.
Anyways, and then if we're going on this position by position basis, I'm gonna say receivers wise, so tight ends and receivers, pretty even. I'm gonna say it's pretty even there, like that you can't, because George Kittle and Travis Kelce.
They're interchangeable as the 1 and 2 best tight ends in the league.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna say Tyreek Hill and Emmanuel Sanders. Tyreek Hill has a little more speed, but I'd probably take Emmanuel Sanders because he can do more. I feel like
I'd probably go with Tyreek Hill.
You've seen Tyreek Hill throw. How many touchdown passes did Tyreek Hill throw?
Okay, but
that's what you need in a Super Bowl. You need plays like that, like the Philly special. You need plays that are out of the ordinary. You need trick plays, and Emmanuel Sanders is a master of trick plays.
I mean, I feel like that's fair, but as far from pure wide receiver standpoint, I'd probably take Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
He's a little bit younger.
All right, so we'll get the edge Tyreek Hill against Tyreek Hill and Emmanuel Sanders, the 2 1s. And then the 2s, Sammy Watkins and
Debo Samuel.
Definitely Debo Samuel.
Yeah, definitely Debo Samuel. No debate on there.
Uh-huh.
He's going to be a legitimate wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah. So that just proves how this is such an even receiving core for both teams.
I feel like the 49ers, going from position to just a wide view of the offense, they're way more balanced.
Yes.
However, the Chiefs can score on any play.
Yeah.
On any play, the Chiefs can score.
Yeah.
And I believe LaShawn McCoy will not be sick anymore for the Super Bowl. But I don't know how many snaps we're going to be looking at.
I mean, I'd still take the whole 49ers backfield over the Chiefs backfield, even with LaShawn McCoy in there. Any day.
Do you think LaShawn McCoy could have an impact on this game if he gets enough touches? Or do you feel like it's Damian Williams' backfield?
It's Damian Williams' backfield, and if there's going to be any impact that LaShawn McCoy has, it's going to be a fumble, and it's going to be something that hurts the Chiefs.
He does carry the ball like a loaf of bread.
Yeah, so I think that'll be the impact he will have if he plays a number of snaps. I don't think if he plays a number of snaps, like a big number of snaps, I think it's going to actually hurt the Chiefs more than it'll help them.
What do you think of the Chiefs' offensive line versus the Niners' offensive line?
I mean, when you go back to what you said about the Chiefs, they're such a big play offense. Like, obviously they need some time to throw the ball, but at the same time, like, if you just throw it to Tyreek Hill outside in a second and he runs all the way, like, I feel like the 49ers, or not the 49ers, I feel like I would give the edge to the 49ers offensive line, first of all, to answer your question. But I think it's because Kansas City's offensive line is just always a wild card. Like, they're not really needed that often in that offense.
I mean, they've kept Patrick Mahomes in a clean pocket, but, you know, Patrick Mahomes almost works better outside the pocket.
Yeah.
So,
well,
at that point...
the majority of his big plays are outside the pocket, so, like, it doesn't even matter what the offensive line is doing.
Plus, I feel like the lives of the Niners offensive line is easier. A, because Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't scramble as much as Patrick Mahomes does. Mm-hmm. And B, when you run the ball as well as the Niners do,
it's because you have a good line.
You have a good line, and it makes it easier to pass.
Yeah.
Because whenever you do play fakes, like Kyle Shanahan likes to call, then it just sets up a better opportunity.
So I'm going to give the line edge to the 49ers.
Are you going to duplicate that on the defensive line?
The defensive side, I'm just going to say the whole defense of the 49ers is better than the whole Kansas City defense. In general.
Even at safety?
Yeah. I think they're fine.
Tyrann Mathieu, though?
I mean, besides, Tyrann Mathieu is good, but I still like... What's one guy going to do on the defense?
Well, I'm just saying on a position-by-position basis.
Okay, so we can give Tyrann Mathieu the edge at safety.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think the 49ers defense is better. At every position.
I'd have to agree, honestly. Excuse me. But, I mean, we've seen how disruptive the front seven for the Niners can be. Mm-hmm. However, even though it sounds like we're writing off the Chiefs' defensive efforts, I'm not going to completely write them off.
I'm not going to write them off.
Because they did bottle up Derrick Henry last week. Uh-huh.
But at the same time, the Titans don't have the weapons that the 49ers do.
Honestly, on the offensive side of the ball, I see a lot of similarities between the Titans and the Niners. I feel like A.J. Brown is a better receiver than anybody that the Niners have, not named George Kittle. Mm-hmm. And then Derrick Henry's a better running back than anybody in the Niners backfield.
I think it comes down more to matchups. Like, I think they're going to be more... For the 49ers, they have more, like you said, they're more of a rounded team, right? The 49ers offense is rounded. And so, like, when you're playing the Tennessee Titans, you can key on Derrick Henry because he's their workhorse. He's the one, like, you got to match up with your best players. Same with A.J. Brown, right? But if you're, let's say, they bring in like they said, even Kyle Juszczyk, the tight end, he's basically the fullback. He's basically a tight end running back. But he's not, he blocks good too, but, like, he's another tight end that's probably in the top 25 tight ends in the NFL, right? So, like, if you bring in a two running back set with Raheem Mostert and Matt Breida, whereas on the flip side of Tennessee, you have Dion Lewis and Derrick Henry, you know who to key on in that backfield is Derrick Henry, but you don't know who to key on in a Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert backfield. Plus, then you have to match up with George Kittle and Emmanuel Sanders and Deebo Samuels. You know, so I think they have more, like, they definitely have similarities, but I think matchup-wise, they have people that match up better against Kansas City and will be on top of them.
If you're the Kansas City defensive coordinator, but there's a little role play, but if you have the unfortunate career of being the Kansas City defensive coordinator, because we're Bronco fans, do you put Tyrann Mathieu on George Kittle all game?
You see, you could, but at the same time, like, he's an undersized safety. Like, he's a great safety. But I think George Kittle would bully him. I really do.
I mean, Tyrann Mathieu has really good ball skills, though.
He has good ball skills, but again, if George Kittle is an athlete, right?
Yeah.
He's a freak. If you put the ball up, he's going to go get it over Tyrann Mathieu. Doesn't matter how good ball skills he has. If they throw it over him.
I'll say that we have to see, but I feel like Tyrann Mathieu is... I feel like he can match up with George Kittle really well. Okay. Because I feel like he's more athletic than George Kittle. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's a safety. Mm-hmm. But I feel like he's kind of been an unsung hero of sorts for this Kansas City defense this postseason.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I'll counter with it is he may lock down George Kittle, but then it goes back to the fact that like we said, Tyrann Mathieu is probably is the best player on that defense.
Yeah.
You need him to do more than just cover George Kittle.
Yeah.
Because he also has to cover Raheem Mostert. He also has to cover Emmanuel Sanders. Like, even Deebo Samuels. Like, he has to be there. Like, he cannot be on... So, to answer your question, no, I'm not covering Tyrann Mathieu on George Kittle the whole game. Because I need him to move around. You know, like, he has to cover other people. Because I just don't have the people... Again, I don't have the people that match up with those other players well enough. Like, sure, George Kittle might not get enough passes, but then Emmanuel Sanders is going to receive for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, you know? And then if you put on in, so I just think the matchup game is what you got to play for the 49ers offense.
So if you're the Niners, how do you win this game? You're Kyle Shanahan.
You run the ball.
This is the same thing that the Titans thought.
Yeah, but again, like, okay, run the ball. The Titans ran the ball up the middle. They were ready for that. But Raheem Mostert's more of a, I would say, scat back. Right? So he's more of a versatile one where you could pitch him to the outside. Give him on a swing route. Like, a swing route behind the line of scrimmage is technically a run. So, like, you know, stuff like that.
And they run the ball really well to the outside in the zone.
Exactly. And that's not, like, the Chiefs show that they can stop Derrick Henry, but they don't run outside zones very often. They pound him right up the middle. So I think you run the ball and then play action. Now, for your other answer, what I'm going to do if I'm the Chiefs defensive coordinator, you just got to blitz Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the only way you can, like, that's how you're going to win the game.
Do you think they can?
Yeah, I think they can. I think they can blitz him.
So I'm going to mention, before we do our predictions and final analysis, I'm going to mention Simon, with no context, said that he chooses Kansas City for this game. That's all he said. That's all he said is, I'm picking KC for the Super Bowl.
All right.
Over text. So we have no context for that, but that's Simon's pick. Mm-hmm. Jesse, who do you got for the Super Bowl?
I think the 49ers are going to. I didn't make it clear in my predictions or preview.
Yeah. I mean, I got the vibe, but we
I
got to...
think the 49ers will win, mainly because I think, again, just seeing through what has happened to the Chiefs throughout the playoffs, I think the 49ers are going to jump out to a big lead at first. I really do. And then I think their defense is going to lock it down.
Do you see this being a close game?
I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. But also, I think the score... Because Kansas City is going to score at least 28 points. So I think the final score is the 49ers 34, Chiefs 28.
That sounds like a good game. Sounds better than last year.
Yeah.
What was it, like 13-9?
Yeah.
Something boring. I am going to agree with you on the Niners winning. However, I feel like it'll be a bit more... I don't feel like the Niners are going to jump out to a huge lead. I feel like they're just going to outlast the Chiefs.
Yeah.
More than anything. So I see... Because I know that in Super Bowls, there tends to be less points scored, typically, than even like a regular game. So I'd have to say that it's going to be something like 28-24 Niners, where, you know, the Niners go on a 13-play drive, score a touchdown, and the Chiefs come back and score in 2 minutes. And the Niners go on another long drive, and they just eventually wear out the Chiefs' defense where they can just run out the clock at the end of the game.
Yeah. All right.
So we got 2 Niners and 1 Chiefs. Let us know what you guys think. Jesse, what are you doing for the Super Bowl?
I'll be on an airplane.
Be on an airplane?
Yep.
During the Super Bowl?
During the Super Bowl.
So you have to watch the Super Bowl on a plane.
I will watch the Super Bowl, hopefully on my phone on the plane.
Bruh. I'm going to hit you with the bruh.
Yeah.
But that's...
When I was scheduling flights, I didn't realize that it was that exact day, that exact time. Until I looked back and I was like, oh crap, the Super Bowl is on where my flight is.
And you call yourself a football fan.
Okay, but in our defense, we don't care about either team, so...
I mean, it's still the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you and I kind of talked about how Simon's like, playoffs, Steelers aren't there. I'm not going to watch it.
I mean,
I'll
still watch the Super Bowl. I'll still watch it, but it's not, like, as big of a deal for me if, like, even a different team's in it. Like, obviously the Broncos, but even if, like...
If it was, like, the
Ravens.
Vikings
were in it, or the Ravens, like, something like that, but, like, I don't care about the Chiefs. I've watched maybe three Chiefs games all year. The ones that they played Broncos twice, and then I didn't even watch the Houston game, and then the game when they played the Titans. So I literally watched 3 Chiefs games, and I watched maybe 1 or 2 49ers games that were in prime time. So
same. I watched the Packers one. I didn't really watch the Vikings one too much.
Yeah.
And I watched the Ravens one because that was a great game.
So I mean, like, I didn't go out of my way to find these 2 teams to watch them, like I would other teams. Even if the Titans were in it, I would be more interested in it, you know?
That's fair. And I'm thinking about wrapping it up with something fun. Jesse, what is your favorite Super Bowl dish that you can't eat on the plane? What are you going to be thinking about?
I can eat whatever I want on the plane. I can get it and bring it on.
Fair enough.
Probably chicken wings.
Chicken wings?
Yeah.
Those are good. I'm going to have to recommend pizza.
Pizza?
You can never go wrong with pizza on the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Pizza's good. I like chicken wings, though.
What if you had both?
There you go.
That's the Cycles Super Bowl dinner, wings and pizza.
With maybe a little bit of salad on the side?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No. It's the Super Bowl. I'm unhealthy.
You can eat 50 chicken wings and 5 pieces of pizza. Just have a little salad.
No. My side is soda or chips. It's only going to get worse for me.
Yeah.
Okay, the Cycle is not serving any of this food, so it doesn't matter. But the main course is chicken wings and pizza.
Yeah.
Let us know.
What about cake?
I mean, I'll eat cake, I guess.
Pie?
I mean, pie's... It's just, I don't see that. I don't like my Super Bowl dinner table.
Okay, I guess it's different for me.
When I went to the Broncos for the Super Bowl, there is cake.
Okay. I guess it's a difference.
Cake's good.
My girlfriend likes to make cupcakes of the teams, especially when it's the Vikings.
Oh. Well, that sounds lovely. But Jesse, not all of us have that luxury.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. But thank you. That wraps it up.
Yeah.
For this episode of The Cycle. We'll be back with more sports news and hopefully one more host next week.
Yeah.
But signing off. Is that my thing now?
Bye.